Dev's there on site. Dev is our project manager, our on-site project manager. There he is. Hey, Dev. My name's Tom Zidron. I'm the project delivery coordinator here at Quality Builders, so kind of overseeing all of our projects. Dev's kind of my boots on the ground, making sure everything goes well on the day-to-day for our projects. So we are Quality Builders. We are a general contractor here in Chicago, and our main focus is working with real estate investors to try and help them grow their portfolios and kind of be their trusting GC kind of from start to finish with construction. We have a lot of knowledge. John is on here, has his real estate license, an investor himself. Belanle, our other co-founder, not on here, but she owns multiple properties as well. So we've kind of been through it all ourselves and kind of know what to do from start to finish, from working with lenders to working with architects, doing the construction, obviously, ourselves. So we like to think we're kind of a one-stop shop and can help people from the beginning all the way to the end. And like I was mentioning earlier, we're always willing to help. John's has a big presence on Bigger Pockets. We're kind of always looking to help people, whether that's just some advice or, work with you on your project. So that's kind of our spiel right now. First and foremost, we'll keep everyone muted throughout, but if you do have any questions, feel free to add them into the chat. We have a Q&A later. I'll certainly answer them as they come up as we're walking through or at the end of the walkthrough. So without further ado, we'll get started. So this is a single family home in Logan Square. It is a 2-story with a basement. Currently is a 3-bedroom. We are looking, the main part of this project is to open up their existing kitchen as well as add an addition into the back, which will end up being a new mudroom for the first floor and a new master bath for the second floor. So we'll head on in. I will bring up the plans first, though. So as Dev's going in, I'm going to share my screen and share the plan set to kind of show you just from a technical perspective kind of what we're looking at and kind of going through the scope. All right, can everyone see my screen? So here we go. Here's our existing plan set for this project. As I said, 2 stories with the basement here, and that's just the attic floor plan. So currently more of a closed off, not open concept here with your kitchen and everything. There is an existing, they're using it as a playroom for the children, but this is just kind of an extra bedroom here on the first floor. Dining room and living room are open, but the kitchen's kind of cramped here off to the side. This is an existing mudroom that was actually already an addition to this home, 20 years ago, say, that they built on. And then this is a back deck, which it has been removed, but you'll be able to see it as we walk to the back of the house. So you have a full bath here, going up to the second floor. Kind of an interesting shaped master bedroom here at the back of the house. Full bath, full hall bath here, and then your 2 bedrooms up here as well. So really not a bad layout overall, but they're looking to add a master bath. You can see right now the whole upstairs shares a single bath here. So that was a big thing they wanted to add, as well as really revamping the entire kitchen and kind of opening up that to the dining room area that they'll be creating once we get rid of that bedroom. So interestingly enough, they, as a homeowner, they're not necessarily looking to add value. I mean, not that they're not looking to add value, but they're not necessarily looking at some things that as an investor you might be looking to add value. They're actually going to eliminate this bedroom rather than add bedrooms. And in this half bath or this full bath here, they're actually looking to eliminate the tub and kind of turn this into a half bath. I know it might sound weird as an investor, but in general, basically they don't use this tub at all. They only use the one upstairs. They actually have a full bath in the basement as well with a shower. So really they've been using this only for storage. So we're going to take that tub out and kind of reinvent this bathroom to be a half bath with a lot more storage for them. Otherwise, the rest of it's cosmetic, obviously adding light fixtures, redoing paint, flooring throughout, new hardwood, new fixtures. But really the other bathrooms, the basement, we had to do some new underground plumbing for the new bathroom and everything. So when we go down there, you'll see ground's all torn up right now. We had that installed, waiting on inspection. So Let's go to the final layout here to give you an idea. As I said, now basement, nothing really happening there. You can kind of see here now we have our open concept kitchen and dining room, where we've taken out the walls here, have some new beams there as well. So now we'll only have, we'll have a island there with a sink in the middle, open to the dining room, and finally a full open concept here. Upstairs in the bedroom, you can see the master's kind of opened up to be a lot more usable area, some way nicer closets space here, and then their master bath here with a wet room concept, tub inside of their larger shower, double vanity, and then kind of pushing this over and allowing them to have their own master. And originally, the plan was to have a little bit bigger master with a kind of office area off to the side here, but they've decided, as they just welcomed a new baby into their lives, they decided to create a new bedroom, much smaller here, more of a nursery area. So that was a kind of a change in plans as we were working with them. But I think that'll work out well for them. So that's really all I have in the plans. Obviously, I can come back to this later if anyone has any questions. But without further ado, I'll have Dev turn his video back on and walk through the house. So stop presenting here. All right, so very early stages of this project. We've really just completed interior demo at this time. When we get to the backyard, you'll see we're kind of waiting on concrete. So we'll have Dev go in the basement first so he can go back out there. But as you can see here on the inside, we've really taken out the floor, taken all the drywall and everything off the studs of the walls we're removing, did some temp bracing. So here he's going down to the basement right now. We've removed all the flooring down here, removed a good amount of drywall. We've actually found now, as we are looking at the HVAC, they were lacking a lot of HVAC to get that up to the second floor, especially after we're removing the ductwork and the walls that are going up to there. So we had to find some new routes for the ductwork to get from the basement here where their furnaces up to the second floor. So I had to remove a lot of drywall, kind of investigating. So they do have a laundry sink down here, right there with their laundry there. So we're leaving that in place. Basically, once we get all that underground plumbing inspected and passed, we'll backfill that, get it all patched up with concrete, and then we'll be able to kind of finish out here with just new flooring, paint, and all that. So nothing too heavy going on in the basement here. Deb, if you want to head back to the backyard now, we can kind of see the main focus here. All right, so back here we have a concrete walk to get to the outside of the house. Yeah, keep taking a step back and we can kind of show. So this was the backyard. You can see there was a small deck there coming out of that doorway. All it was really a way to get out of the back of the house. It wasn't really a livable deck. So right now we're waiting on concrete, scheduled for Monday actually. So we'll have some updates here soon. But we're going to take out the concrete stairs that are coming down here as well as the retaining wall, excavate out and kind of build out a new concrete foundation for our addition. So the addition's not the biggest addition. It's really just finishing off the squaring this building off. You can see we had the roof temporarily braced there, for now, but if you can envision it, we'll remove all the siding, remove those exterior walls, the door there, and then we're going to build from the ground up. We're building a new concrete stair coming down to the basement there, and actually right there where the siding is and the concrete there on the side of the house, we're going to have a new doorway that'll go into their basement. Right now, neither of their entrances to their basement are very wide. The doorway there, as well as the stairs at the front, are very narrow, and they actually can't get much furniture down there, no couch or anything like that. You can see here to get through there and then take the left turn, it's not really feasible. So we're actually going to cut a new door into the wall here for them just to the left of where Dev's looking right now, and really open up the entrance there to allow them to kind of get some more furniture and everything down there, a little bit easier access. All right, so you can see here, once we build out that first floor, that'll just be a mud room, which I showed in the plans. They'll have some new cabinets there, just you know, to help open up the storage there for them. And then we'll kind of build all the way up to the second floor, and that will be where their master bathroom is. We'll end up taking the siding off here, obviously, to replace that, make it work. We're replacing the windows there with a sliding glass door as well. So when I'll bring the plans back up, but we're going to put some new glass sliding doors in, some larger ones that'll kind of give them a lot more natural light into their kitchen. So that'll be very nice. And then they're building a deck off the back here. So they didn't have any deck space there before. So kind of all this brick area here, that'll end up being under the deck. They'll have a nice large deck, you know, for entertaining guests and everything, getting to put a grill out there, you know, having a nice outdoor area. So one more thing, just, you know, as I'm talking about construction, something to think about. If Deb can turn around and look at the back alley here, you know, something to think about is always access. So currently not the best access back here. Obviously, we're not going to be able to bring some concrete truck and just back it up here and get to our concrete pour. So we did have to remove our existing fence here. We'll have the concrete truck pull back right into this entrance here, and then they're going to have some, you know, not wheelbarrows, but they have, you know, equipment that they can bring the concrete back and have it kind of pumped back into the area that we need. So just something to always think about. Access for material and construction equipment is always critical for us. All right, Deb, if you want to head back. Take a quick look and stop here at the concrete when you're getting here. So one thing I wanted to go over, this is what we went through with our architect, who's actually on the call. So hi, Arlene. So we had a little bit of a dilemma with the setback for where our concrete steps were going to be. So if you look a little more to your left, we originally had our concrete steps kind of going down as Deb's walking right there, kind of being a little bit further away from the building. And what we found was that was actually too close to the adjacent property, and we actually had to go back to the drawing board, you know, with the city, come up with a new plan, kind of actually cut into the addition a little bit on the first floor and kind of shrink it a little bit so we could get the stairs there. So, you know, when it comes to zoning and stuff like that, that's always something you got to keep in mind. Luckily, if you have, you know, good architect like Arlene, you know, with us, then you'll be able to kind of work with them. You know, they kind of know all the ins and outs of what's needed with zoning and how close you can be to the next property. So just something always to think about. Obviously, if you're ever building outside of your footprint, that can always be something that you're going to have to be aware of. All right, why don't you head back up to the first floor? Yeah, so I mean, as I was saying, you know, I'm not sure if any of you have been dealing with it, but I think the city of Chicago's a little slammed right now with permitting, and we've had that on our last job, if you were with us on our last project walkthrough. But similar here, you know, a lot of iterations going back and forth with the city. You know, we've been talking to the owner of this project for a long time. Really started the conversation with them back in November of last year, and really didn't break ground until here in September. So you know, lots of reasonings. We changed a lot of things with the plans. So you know, one thing I always recommend is try to have your scope and what you want, you know, locked in before you submit the plans to the city. Obviously, anytime you change anything and you have to go back to them, that just delays the process overall. So as Deb's walking through here, you can see removed all the flooring. Yeah, Hope can kind of go to the back of the house now. So this was their living room, dining room area. You can see the wall that was there into the original bedroom 4 here, or their playroom kind of. That's already been taken down. Just some studs here remaining. So as we go to take out the back of the house, we'll remove all these walls as well, temporarily bracing the second floor. Putting the new beams in, allowing us to have the open concept kitchen that they want with the island that'll be kind of right there where this wall is. Kind of just reconfiguring the whole kitchen overall and really upgrading it from how it used to be. We'll have cabinets all on the wall. He's going here. Cabinets all along this wall. Sink underneath there. The countertops going underneath this window as well. So if you now look to our addition that we already have here, Dev. One thing, again, you know, just want to reiterate, you know, kind of I talked about the HVAC earlier, and, you know, anytime you're adding on to anything, you know, you run the risk of having to you know, upgrade some types of system, whether that's your water Luckily, they already had the water service upgrades, even though they were adding a bathroom. We did not have to do an upgrade for that. But we are having to upgrade the HVAC. And then if you look up, Dev, after opening up the floor joists here, we realized that this original addition was not built up to code originally. So not the proper sized joist here and spacing. So we're actually going to have to sister on joists here, add on to that. We had our structural engineer out. Luckily we've had a good, nice responsive team who's been able to help us out, make sure we're doing everything structurally sound. So we'll get that reframed as we're doing the new addition as well. Allow everything to be up to code. Similarly to the HVAC, anytime you open up walls, you're running the risk of seeing that what you currently have is not up to snuff. So we'll take this back wall out as well. Like I said, this where you can see that window to the left, that'll be where their sliding glass door is going out to the their new patio. So why don't you head upstairs, Dev? We'll just finish up here and then we'll kind of open this up to questions. As I said, I know people are joining on now. Have everyone muted, but if you have any questions as we're going here, feel free to type them in right now. And as soon as we're done here, I'll open that up and answer any questions. All right, so this is the existing bedroom they had to the right here. Nothing new really going on in here. We're going to actually block that. We're going to close up that closet there and have that closet now be a part of the adjacent bedroom because this bedroom already had a closet to the right. So if you go in here, then take a left. You can see we've taken and opened up the walls here. So, we are actually shrinking one of the existing bedrooms, this one that he's standing in right now. We're shrinking that up and shrinking the master overall as well to kind of help give enough space for that extra bedroom or nursery that we have going here. So if you can see, Dev, look where that chimney was. We originally had an existing chimney going all the way up from basement all the way up to the roof. Was not in use. HVAC had been replaced years ago and was no longer connected to that. So it was an easy removal for us. Basically just took it down from the chimney up, brick from the top down. We've been doing that a lot recently on our projects. A lot of chimneys used to be in use and are no longer in use. So really helps give us a little more flexibility once we remove that to kind of open up the area. And then lastly, if you want to go to the master, you can kind of just see this is kind of what we were seeing from below, but here are the joists. So this new addition was added onto their master years ago, not by them before they bought it, and was apparently not up to code. So, we're changing everything out here in the back anyways already. So not going to be the biggest add-on here, but we'll be adding just around those joists, adding a new window and everything back on that back wall, and kind of giving them just a little bit better storage as well, because you can see to the left here, their currently only master closet is really just this side closet here. So not a lot of storage in there. So we're going to give them a little more storage. And yeah, that's really the gist of this project. Like I said, we're just getting started. So this bathroom staying the same. Not too much going on in there. So still in debate right now if we're going to replace the entire siding of the house or just the new addition, but that's something that they're figuring out now if that's going to be in their budget. Otherwise, we might just do the new addition for now. Does anyone have any questions? I'll open up the floor to questions right now. Feel free to type them in. I'll let why don't you head back to the front. What I'll do is, as I'm waiting to see if anyone has any questions, just type them in, please. We're leaving everyone muted for now, so if you have a question, go ahead now. I will also. All right, good question. Are you talking about for the old edition that we said was not up to code, or? Yes. Okay. Yes, we're not going to completely remove it. We're going to completely remove the back wall, but for the actual joists and everything, the walls are actually fine. It's really just those floor joists that need to be upgraded. So we'll basically leave the ones that are there, but sister on new joists at the proper spacing with the proper size, 2x6s. Sorry, and so that'll just reinforce the floor there, and that's really all that's needed to make that up to code. Sure. How much does all this cost? Well, to be honest with you, our existing budget was in the low 200s. We have definitely been creeping up as they've added scope. So when we originally gave them our bid, like I said, way back in November 1, everything was a lot cheaper then. So a little bit of inflation has hit us at this point, but overall we've added a lot of scope items as well. So the scope's kind of blossomed to originally it was really just the new addition and flooring and paint, as well as the kitchen work. Now you can see we do have a good amount of work more, adding a new bedroom, some more work in the basement and stuff. So not to mention if they're going to replace all their siding, that's an additional cost too. So you know, and obviously what we always tell everyone, we give people original budgets and then what they choose for finishes. So they're kind of choosing their finishes right now. So that's going to help us fluctuate, you know, maybe 10%. But we're probably looking closer to like 250 right now for the overall cost for this one. It does not fully reset, but depending on the scope, I mean, it really depends on your architect and how they're going for through review. So I think you do run the risk of definitely having to wait lengthy periods of time, depending on what the changes are. That answers your question. So while I'm waiting for the next one, I wanted to zoom in here on, because I didn't specify when I was looking at the plans. I know some people came on late as well, but here is the back porch area. So this is what it's looking like in the basement and what it's going to look like on the first floor. So originally our plan was actually to have, you know what, I could actually probably pull up an old set. That would actually probably be better for everyone to see. See if I can find one that it's in. Yeah, here we go. So here's an old set. And you can kind of see what our original plan was. Our original plan was to kind of build out this landing, basically a larger concrete landing here, and then have the stairs kind of come off the side. So you'd walk down the stairs, take a right, and then you come in the door. And this is that additional door we're going to be adding in. But as you can see, this bumps out a lot further to the right here in the photo. And we found, unfortunately, that was a little too far based just on the setback and everything for the adjacent property. So that was when we kind of had to go back to the drawing board and come up with a different plan to still make this work. So now the addition on the first floor is actually shrunk down a lot. They still have the mud room and they'll still have the cabinets here, and they'll still have the full bath up here. But that was an unfortunate change that we had to do when we were going through the plans and whatnot. So stop sharing. All right. Those are moving bedrooms. In theory, yeah, it definitely would. They actually technically removed a bedroom and then added it back in the second floor, like I showed. So,
what was the question?
Oh, sorry. Does removing bedrooms bring down the value of the house? It would, in theory, yes, it would. But by adding that bedroom back into the third floor or second floor, sorry, you know, they might have salvaged some of that value. Obviously, adding a master was going to give you extra value. So I think they might have, you know, helped out with that. I mean, in theory, changing that one full bath to a half bath would also, you know, in theory, bring it down. But like I said, you know, they're homeowners. This is their home they've lived in for years. Just had a new baby. Like no desires to leave. You know, so I don't think they're 100% really thinking, you know, how their value or anything right now as they're making decisions. Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed one before. How long did the owners have to live in a different place during construction? This is a tough question for them. I know that they've been a little frustrated just because they actually moved out before we had, in hopes that we were getting the permit approved. I think it was at the end of July, and like I said, we actually didn't really start construction until the end of September. So they were out of their home for a good 2 months prior to us even starting construction. So I know that are chomping at the bit to get back in their home. And we're doing everything we can to expedite it and get this done as fast as possible. So The overall project from start to finish, we're hoping to finish in 3 to 4 months. So kind of we're rocking and rolling now, and once we get that concrete in, we kind of have all of our subs lined up and ready to go. We've been, we're in contact with them every day. One thing that we like to pride ourselves on is communication and transparency, to be honest. We're not going to beat around the bush and say, oh yeah, you might be able to get back in next month. We're going to tell you how it is and kind of what we're doing and why, and make sure they're aware of what's going into the project and what's how long it's going to take. So we've told them right now our goal is to be in by the end of the year, but time's ticking on that, so we'll see. We're doing our best. I think I touched on all the questions. Okay, we have another one here. Yes, so again, curious about the permitting. So it does reset, every time. I mean, it does not necessarily reset to zero. What I mean? At the end of the day, it's still revisions that are being submitted. So those reviews are usually quicker, depending on your architect. I think Arlene did a very good job of resubmitting in a very timely manner, getting these changes done as soon as possible and getting them back to the city. I'd say architects are your best friend when it comes to permitting. As soon as you have plans, the GC, us, yourself as an investor, you wouldn't be the ones really, doing the work with the permitting. We work with easy permits, so on a smaller job, as a GC, we can help with that. But as soon as you have plans, your architects are your best friend. They're the ones in contact with the city, and you have to put a lot of faith in them. So again, I would just reiterate that, making sure you have the best team in place in your GC, your architect, your lender, everyone. You want to have quality ones across the board, because if you have any of them lacking, it certainly is not going to lead to a successful project. Good question. When do you need plans versus an easy permit? So there is a lot of different factors for this. Obviously, the simpler your project or easier it is, the more likely you can have an easy permit. Anytime you're doing anything that's kind of a like replacement or an in-place replacement, okay, you're renovating a kitchen, but everything's staying in place. Sinks going back where it is, all appliances and everything. You definitely can do an easy permit for that. You can do easy permits for roofing, siding, anything structural. You definitely need plans. You need an architect on board. So really, anytime you're planning on taking down walls, putting walls up, new additions, anything exterior that has to do with concrete, really, you definitely need plans for that. Any new MEPs, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, you're going to need. If you're just replacing things, you can get an electrical permit, like if you're just putting new lights in, replacing light fixtures, stuff like that. That's not a problem. But as soon as you start rewiring things, you're going to add a washer and dryer. You need all these new water lines and vent lines and everything. Anything like that, you assume you're going to need a permit for a full permit with plans. Also, do you have to have an architect for real estate developing? Is it required? As I was kind of in conjunction with that same question, you do not need an architect if you're doing an easy permit or anything like that. So on smaller jobs, 50,000, even up to 100,000, if it's generally a cosmetic rehab that you're working with, which a lot of time, in real estate development or investing, a lot of times it can be just a nice flip. Just doing the finishes and whatnot, redoing everything in place, just kind of bringing the existing property up to, modern day finishes. If it's something like that, you do not need an architect. We can work with you just as the GC through all of that. But as soon as you really start doing anything more of a heavy duty scope, any type of, new construction, a new addition, new foundation, anything like that, you're definitely going to need an architect for that, because they need to go through structural plans and everything and getting that approved by the city. The easy permit process by the city, if you can imagine, like they don't do that much of an in-depth look. So if you kind of think to yourself, like, should it's a professional like an architect be approving something like structural or something like that, that's kind of when you're going to need an architect. How long was the total construction time? Our plan right now was always our goal of 3 months, 4 months on the higher side, from start to finish. The big unknown for us is going to be our rough inspections right now. So on a past project, we're getting really lengthy scheduling for our rough inspections. So that's getting our framing inspected, our rough plumbing or rough electrical and rough HVAC. So I know on our previous job, we've been hitting, our electrical was 5 weeks from when we submitted for it. So when you start, when we're used to more like 1 to 2 weeks. So that kind of puts a damper on, you can get ahead of the game with your MEPs. And then if you're waiting on inspection, you're not going to do your insulation and drywall up until you have that approved, right? As soon as you put drywall up, they're not going to be able to come in and inspect what's behind the walls. So and that does not make them happy. So you definitely want to wait for insulation and drywall until you have everything approved behind the walls. So what we've been doing right now is actually we've been submitting for our rough inspections before some of our work even starts. So before we even get our electrician on site, we'll put in for our electrical inspection, knowing that hey, you got to still start like in a week, but trying to get ahead of the game at least a little bit. It's a fine line because you don't want to put it in too early and then have them say, hey, your rough electricals on Monday, and have there be no way your electrician can finish. So that's kind of what we've been trying to do to kind of expedite that, but it's been a challenge for sure. Do you have to inspect insulation? You do not. Really, the main inspections that you need here are electrical, plumbing, and mechanical, and then framing as well. Those are the 4 that you'll definitely need rough inspections on. And then you'll do a final inspection at the end. But again, like clearly, your drywall will be up. No one will see the insulation, so you don't technically need the rough inspection for that. Then we have, why is rough inspections taking so long? It's just the city. They're backed up in general. And I'll tell you that it's not, none of them, they're not all the same. So framing hasn't been as bad. That's been maybe 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks at most. HVAC was a good 4 weeks. Plumbing was maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And then electrical was 5. So they all have their own sections or departments there with the city. So none of them, they don't work together necessarily. So you have to do them all separately, which can be a challenge, but that's just the way that the city works. And, I'll be the first to tell you, it is tough working with them too. You put in your rough inspection online, you don't talk to anyone, and you kind of just wait. They don't actually tell you when the inspection is until usually a couple days ahead of time. I've had success recently being able to call the city. They've actually been a little more responsive than usual in working with us to say when, hey, they might not tell you when the inspection is, but they will tell you like, no, you're not scheduled for next week. So it does at least give you a little bit of transparency as far as knowing, okay, well, we're not going to get it next week, and then planning accordingly. Do you often work on condo projects as well? Yes, we do. We just finished one earlier this summer, 1 bed, 1 bath, but full kind of cosmetic rehab of them. I'll be the first to tell you there are additional intricacies and difficulties with working with condos, delivering material, working hours, certain things you are and aren't allowed to do. So I would tell you, anyone who's looking to purchase an investment property with a condo, you definitely want to look into the buildings, what their restrictions are on the unit. Some units or some buildings might not allow you to take down any walls, and if you're planning on opening up a kitchen, you might be stuck then. So definitely want to make sure you're aware of those before investing in any of those. But we definitely work on those. It's just a little bit more coordination with our subs and material, but in general, they can be very successful projects. Let's see what else we have. Will there be a final inspection before occupancy as well? Yes, there will. Basically, you do your rough inspections until those are approved. Then you start drywall, get everything running, everything finished at that point. Once you're done, we'll do final inspection. We'll do a final inspection with the owner as well. I'll be the first to, at the end of the day, we want the owner to be happy. And the final inspection for occupancy, they'll check your water pressure, the electricity, make sure all that's working, your furnace, all that. So they'll check all the kind of critical things like that to make sure they're working. But the final inspection certainly isn't going to tell you, hey, you have a paint chip there, or there's a crack in the drywall. Like, they don't necessarily care about that. So so that is more between us, the GC, and the owner. That'll help. We'll do a final walkthrough with them, make a final punch list, and we also give them a 1-year warranty as well. Usually for depending on the project, but on these larger projects. John, you have a question?
Yeah, just wanted to clarify. I don't believe there's an actual occupancy inspection for anything under 4 units.
Correct.
It needs to be commercial, but there is a final inspection that they come and do for all of the MEPs, and specifically for new construction development, they do a final inspection too.
Correct. Yes, very good point. Yep. It's not the actual occupancy inspection. That is only on the larger projects. And let's see what else we have. We're taking out a wall to open up a dining area to kitchen require a permit. Yes, technically it would. You definitely need a permit. You can submit an easy permit. People have had success with that. If you look at the technicalities of when you should have plans and an architect, that would be one of them. So according to the city, if you're taking down a wall, because it's not for us to decide if that's load bearing or not, that'd be up to an architect and a structural engineer. So if you are taking out a wall and you plan on getting a permit, you do potentially need to get an architect for that. I have seen people submit that they are taking out a wall on an easy permit and they have had it approved. So I think it kind of just depends on the project. Some people want to try to get the easy permit first. Obviously, if you're taking down one wall, some people might not feel like that's worth having a full plan set for, which I can understand. So that's just something to consider. How many projects at a time do you guys take on? Is there someone who's checking the quality of the subcontractor's work as construction goes on? Very good question. We really don't have a limit for the number of projects we take on at once. Currently, we have 5, I believe, going on right now, varying in size. So multiple, just value-wise, multiple projects in the 300,000 range. I think 3 in that range. We have one that's starting right now that's a much larger 4-unit. That'll be that's closer to around 750 to 800,000, so a much larger project. If everyone's interested, I think that'll probably be our walkthrough next month. So look out for that. That'll probably be early December. That'll be a fun one. It's a really cool project. But anyways, and then we have another one coming up in the near future down in Bronzeville, a big rehab of a 4-unit down there. And that's going to be probably closer to 600-ish. So those are kind of our 5 main larger projects now. We also have been taking on some cosmetic rehabs. We have a good team to kind of do smaller projects, 50,000, 100,000. We generally like to stay in the 100,000 range. 50,000 is probably a little on the smaller side. But depending on the scope of work, we try to make it work. Obviously, we want to help out as many of our investor friends as we can and make sure everyone can be successful, whether that's starting out small or having a larger one. And then, second part of the question is there someone who's checking the quality of subcontractors' work? Yes, 100%. Deb right there is our on-site project manager for most of these jobs right now. He is on our projects. I wouldn't say he's on every project every day, but he is on projects weekly. All of these projects definitely at least once a week, if not more. Certainly more if need be. He's local, so he's always meeting subcontractors before they start work. Certainly, at the end of the day, we don't pay our subs until we're on site and walking through the property, making sure everything's done up to our quality, as well as the owners. So obviously in the early stages, we might not bring the owners on as much to walk through the rough. They probably don't care as much about that, but certainly at the end, we're doing finishes, drywall, paint, stuff like that. That's when we walk through with ourselves to certainly make sure the quality's up to par, but as well as our owners to make sure that they're up to, they're happy with the end product. That's at the end of the day, that's what we do it for. And we want to make sure everyone's on the same page. John, question.
Oh, I was just wondering, you were talking about finishes. Did you happen to go through the finish schedule?
I did not, no.
Maybe that might be helpful. And then I think there's another question too.
Sure. I can bring that up in a second. Let's see. Bronzeville project, someone said they're interested in that. That will definitely be, if not, like I said, one of those will be our walkthrough next month in December, and then the next one will be our walkthrough in January. So it just depends on. Right now, both of those have been their own issues with permitting. So you'll see a common theme among a lot of these projects is just going through things with the city, going through different iterations. So one of those will be in December and the other one will be in January. So stay tuned for both of those. Do you work in the suburbs? Are there areas you don't work in? We definitely prefer to be staying in the city of Chicago right now. We don't, I'd say we're certainly not going to go hours outside of the city. If we have a project and someone sending us one in the suburbs, we still like to consult any type of project in the suburbs, and are happily willing to listen to see what the scope of work is. If it's a smaller job, probably aren't going to go much further outside of the city. But if it is a larger job that we're talking a full single family home or multiple units, we would potentially be able to do that. I'll wait for another question and share my screen and try to bring up a finish schedule that we have here.
Also, maybe even the regular schedule and any daily reports and stuff, just to give an oversight of the technology and stuff.
Sure. One second.
Dev, why don't you give us some lessons learned you've had so far on this project?
Sure, I would say probably scheduling the concrete sub was a lesson learned. We probably could have done it a bit quicker. I would say right now, I guess like that's probably it. Like there haven't been a lot of lessons, at least for this project. As the project continues to go forward, I'm pretty sure there will be more, and we constantly keep on learning from them. So,
yeah, I'll just piggyback off of that. Obviously, Dev has been a big part of the construction process, which just started. So I think most of our lessons learned right now have been the early stages of the plans and getting those approved and getting started and everything. But yeah, piggybacking off of his concrete, that is something that we're dealing with right now with our concrete subs. Is there's a cement shortage out there right now, so concrete prices have gone up, as well as been a lot harder to schedule. So, one thing that we tell our clients is we can't we do our best to be ready to go as soon as the project's approved and ready to go. But in order to get people have to realize our subs have other jobs too. And in general, just because we as the GC are ready to start, we got to get our subs in line. So we usually tell people there's probably a little bit of a couple week buffer as we get everyone scheduled, at least especially for the early stages, framing, concrete, all these early stage subs where you kind of need to get them started, and then once they get started, we're full bore, ready to go. So I'll show this. This is one example of one of our finished schedules, an early iteration of it. Kind of tweaking it right now. So I'll say that first and foremost, this one's getting revised, but it kind of just shows you what we generally work with our client. We kind of make this for them, show all the different things that we might need input from them on. So some owners don't care as much, as an investor, sometimes maybe they're like, we trust you, show us what you're going to do and we'll give you final approval. But some people, homeowners, might have a little bit more say. So we send them out, kind of show them the different sections, siding, roofing, doors, and they kind of give us feedback on what they want. We put links in there, the different things we're ordering, faucets, tubs, kind of everything, light fixtures, so on and so forth, tile, flooring, cabinets, kind of appliances, a little bit of everything. So we kind of work and go back and forth with the client, making sure they're happy with everything, and that they, get everything they want. So I will go back. The trend is not working. All right, I might not be able to share the schedule then, but maybe we could send that out afterwards, John. All right, let's see. Biggest lessons. I think we kind of just touched on that, not as many yet for this one. How long have you been working in construction? Good question. So our team here that you see here, we have additional team members, but between me, John, and Dev, me and John actually both come from a similar background, working for Walsh Construction, large GC, obviously headquartered in Chicago, so maybe all you know of them. But we both worked for Walsh Construction and heavy civil construction. I did since college. I believe he did as well. I worked with them for about 10 years, and I think John might have been even a little longer than that. So we met down in Louisville, Kentucky, working on a bridge and highway project down there. So we've been working as a GC here for about 10 plus years now at this point. Just started Quality Builders a couple of years ago, actually during the pandemic. So I know you have that's a follow-up question, but that was kind of when we started here in Chicago. So John had moved back to Chicago and saw a kind of a need for some more transparency and some, better GCs in the industry. To be honest, a lot of GCs a little more old school, and we're trying to bring a little more technology to it. Kind of what we've learned in the larger construction industry, and bring that into the residential. Seeing if we can successfully do that. Dev graduated from college just last year, so he's green right now, but he's working with me and doing a really good job. Has his degree in civil engineering as well, and done multiple internships, and so he's been with us now for just over 4 months. So he's been doing a really good job, though. How long has the team been together? Well, the full team has been together since May of 2020, so right after the pandemic started. Like I said, Dev just joined us, and our co-founder, Bolanle, also joined us a little bit later, maybe 6 months or so. So John and I were the original two that started with our first project. If anyone had seen it, was a single-family home that we put together, new construction in Bucktown. And how has the pandemic affected your process? To be honest, I mean, you'll see here, I'm actually not located in Chicago, so I am completely remote doing this with our team. John and Dev are in Chicago, so funnily enough, I think it actually helped us really rely on technology, video, walkthroughs and calls like we're doing right now. And it's been a challenging but very fun experience to be able to do this remotely. We do a lot of video calls and working through video walkthroughs and punch lists and stuff like that. So although the pandemic certainly affects the overall pricing of things and scheduling and stuff like that, in a way, it kind of helped us really dig in and use technology the way we are now. As for the total cost of the project, is budget included with finished materials as well? So what we do when we give our original budget to our estimate to our client is we try to talk to them ahead of time and understand what their intentions are. Is it builder grade material for a flip? Are you going to have higher end finishes because you're a homeowner? We try to get at least a general feel at the beginning, and with that we implement that into our estimate. And what we do is we give allowances for those finish items. So for instance, if you say you want builder grade, we might tell you, okay, well, we're going to put our hardwood or our LVT flooring at $3 a square foot, and that'll be very clear in our estimate. So that way, as a investor or a homeowner, you understand if you end up choosing a hardwood floor that's $10 a square foot, then like that's going to increase your overall budget. And that's something we, make sure that everyone's aware of long before we purchase the material. Like, hey, just so you know, you did choose a hardwood that was more expensive, that's going to, be a change order essentially and increase your overall. We're very transparent with our change orders as well as our estimate at the beginning. I can't pull my estimate up, unfortunately, right now. Unless it will load, but we give very detailed estimates. We're certainly not saying, oh, it's going to cost $300,000. We have it broken down in between every line item and of why it's going to cost that. Concrete's this, framing's this, your plumbing fixtures are this, electrical fixtures this. So it's very clear as to where we're getting our pricing from, and you'll see and understand. That way, when things do come up, if we do need to have a change order or if we are increasing material costs, it's very clear as to where we were and why we're doing that. And we can kind of have a conversation about it and get final sign off from the owner. We don't do anything without getting that sign off. We're certainly not going to do change orders to buy material unless everyone's on the same page. That's what we pride ourselves on, our communication. Certainly no hidden, change orders. We're not going to come up last minute and say, oh, we need an extra $10,000. Like, it's going to be long before we do that work and making sure we're all on the same page. Any other questions or anything else they'd like to see? We got 10 minutes or so coming up towards the end. All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I think we will finish this up here. We will send follow-ups, and like I said, we fully plan on doing this. This is going to be a monthly thing for us. So we did our first single-family home project last month, which we probably will go back to at some point as we're progressing there. And that project we're hoping to finish by the end of the year as well. And then one more question: why did you guys start this? Good question. So. Like I said, John had kind of moved back to Chicago, has been an investor himself, kind of saw, working with some GCs and subs and stuff, saw some difficulties there, some challenges, whether that's people being non-responsive, hidden change orders, just not clear transparency as far as the budgets and everything with our with GCs and subs he was working with. Wanted to bring tech, like John just said. He wanted to bring something different to the industry, right? Like, I mean, general contracting and construction in general is very behind in the times with technology. Some people are attempting to use it right now, but in general, you get people sending just paper estimates and just complete bigger picture numbers of, oh, it's going to cost $30,000. What Jamal's saying right now, responsiveness is a huge problem, and yeah, and it doesn't make sense. We didn't understand it either. That's what something that one of our tenets is that we will never leave someone unresponded to. We're going to respond to everyone. And I mean, if we're not interested, if maybe we're not interested in doing the project, but we can help you in some way. We pride ourselves on our communication, our transparency, and we think that we can really bring a lot more of that to the industry and really help out. Investors like you guys, because at the end of the day, some people are new and don't know, maybe all the ins and outs of what, how to get started even. And that's kind of where we're at too. We've just started our company as well. We're trying to grow with our clientele as well. So, as our investor clients are buying more and more property, we want to be the go-to contractors, and as we grow, help them grow as well. John.
Oh, I was just going to let everyone know that we have an in-person meetup coming up in 2 weeks on Saturday as well, 10 a.m. It's at A&M Mortgage as well. And then also, we have a Christmas party that we're setting up with the Chicago Multifamily Club and Windy City REI. That should be December 2nd on Friday. So look for information on that, because virtual stuff is great, but the in-person stuff is really where we can network, grow, and connect with the right people to take us the next step on our journey.
Yep, for sure. So with that, we appreciate all you guys taking the time on a Saturday. We know you could have other things to do, and we really appreciate you taking the time to go through this with us. We really like showing off what we're doing and talking to you guys, and and helping in any way we can. So like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any additional questions or anything that you'd like to see more info on. We're very, very open. We want to help everyone in any way we can. So, and like I said before, in addition to those in-person ones, definitely be on the lookout. In a couple weeks from now, you should be seeing another invite for, might even be the day after the one that he just talked about. So probably that first Saturday in December would be the date we're looking at for our next one. So did you have another thing, John? Or is this still from the before? All right. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you taking the time. We'll talk soon. Thanks.